What's going on, everyone? My name's AJ. Welcome to the Adoration podcast. My special guest today is Edgar Castillo, one of the most kind, competitive, loyal, and caring people in my life specifically. So I just wanted to start it off. Did you want to introduce yourself to the people?
Thanks, man. That was a nice introduction. It felt pretty loving right there.
Oh, that's love, bro.
Yeah. I'm Edgar Castillo, guys. 30-year-old male living in Los Angeles. I don't know how else to describe myself.
Edgar works for a nonprofit for the county of Los Angeles, but we'll get into that soon. And I personally met him through one of my good friends, Matt. Shout out to Matt if you're watching this. And I wanted to ask you a few questions because you went to UC Santa Cruz and grew up in LA. And I wanted to ask you, how was your college years in Santa Cruz after being born and raised in LA?
Yeah, great question. Santa Cruz was definitely such a culture change for me. It is and it wasn't, because part of me felt like it reminded me a little bit of Venice Beach. A lot of the hippies and people just going out crazy all the time. But Santa Cruz was definitely a culture change for me. I remember being born and raised in Los Angeles. I used to have nothing but pairs of shorts on me. And I joke around all the time that when I moved up to Santa Cruz, I actually had to buy pairs of jeans because it was too cold for me. And I would always complain about the weather and stuff being cold, cloudy, and rainy. But ultimately, I grew to love the city, grew to love the college, all of it all together. And I got to meet so many different people from across the state, even I think in other states as well too. I got to meet, some close friends there. Matt, our mutual friend that we got to know each other through. Harris, shout out Matt, shout out Robert as well too. I got to meet all those guys, and I was able to grow lifelong friends from that experience. But Santa Cruz was hard. I feel like everybody has their own college, undergrad experience. I was far away from home. I didn't really go back home as much people did that were based in the Bay Area. So sometimes it was either lonely or I was stuck working at Trader Joe's all the time. Ultimately, I think it was a good experience. I graduated in politics, started, being in the field of work that I'm kind of graduated in as well too, doing some system change and policy work as well too. So yeah, I don't know if I would change anything about it, but yeah, it was a great experience overall.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Edgar. I wanted to ask that question because I truly relate with trying to get accustomed to a new city. I didn't even meet you in college because
Yeah.
I went to school in New York, and I would meet my friend Matt's college friends who went to Santa Cruz, and they're always like, oh, you should DJ at this college party at Santa Cruz. But I never really got a chance because I lived in New York. And then we all met up when I visited back home in California on summers and holidays. I'm glad that, I have a lifelong friend in you and everyone else here. There's a studio audience in the back.
Hey.
Shout out to you guys. So I wanted to ask, what do you think is the most uncomfortable experience you had moving from LA to Santa Cruz? And how did you cope with it or try your best to get acclimated to that change?
Yeah, I think part of it is just like having to dive right into it. Basically, I ended up going to Santa Cruz, and then in my end of my junior year, I even went to study abroad. And then my senior year, I did the UCDC program where I had to do an externship out in Washington, D.C. as well. So I felt like there were a couple times throughout my collegiate career, I had to go and put myself out there and move to different cities and meet new people and explore the different cities and surroundings I was a part of. I think it was just, I don't know, go right into it. I don't know what there's a better way to say it. I feel like you can't. It's very easy for people just to get sheltered within themselves and stay inside, but ultimately that's not going to be healthy for your own mental health. Ultimately, you're going to want to meet different people, and that's going to create new experiences, new friendships, and great memories overall too. So that's what I was always into. I never wanted to limit myself when I was in college. I remember there was so many different, I don't know if there's a good way to say this, but cliques based off racial identity in college. And when I was in college, I noticed that I didn't want to be that person just because I'm Latino, that I had to hang out with Latinos. And I wanted to really expand the people and that I was meeting, whether that be they were Asian. It was mainly Asian, white, consider. Yeah, shout out my Asians. White, I'm just thinking about our friends in general. We get Middle Eastern, all across the globe. I just never wanted to limit myself as to like one certain demographic people just because that was familiar to me. A lot of people cling to the familiar, which doesn't breed for new experiences and new friendships overall as well too. So ultimately, it's a scary feeling, moving away and not knowing people. But ultimately, I got to, meet friends that end up connecting me with you, AJ. I went overseas, found a girlfriend out there as well. Shout out Yesenia as well. Yeah, and good things can happen when you put yourself out there.
I think based on everything that you said, and as far as diving in and going into that new experience, the main thing that comes to my mind is confidence. So, how do you stay so confident, kind, and understanding of other people from different backgrounds? Because I definitely relate with you in that it's easy to feel sheltered or babied when you're so comfortable with not only your lifestyle where you grow up, but the races around you or just the lifestyle and the culture around you. So how do you stay so open and receptive to other opinions, other cultures? And how do you stay so kind, understanding, and open in your personal life? And how does that translate to something like your professional life?
Thanks for calling me confident. That's a very confident boost for me. I think for people that, I don't know, I guess for myself, I shouldn't speak for other people. For myself, sometimes it's a twofold thing. It's like a fake it till you make it kind of thing too. You have to put good things out in the air so that way you could, I guess, manifest it in a certain way, if that makes sense. People do have their doubts, they do have their insecurities. I mean, I still have my own when I think about pursuing new projects or pursuing new life changes as well. We have these, I've heard this term called invisible scripts that we tell ourselves why we don't pursue a certain thing. Sometimes you just have to, like you said, put yourself out there and hope for the best. Depending on the situation, you could say the best thing, or the worst thing people can say to you is no. When you reach out to them, ask for something as well, and if they do, you just move on to the next thing. For me, I think part of it's always had to do where that's drawn from. I feel like it's kind of probably through soccer. I think for me, I was a goalkeeper in soccer. I grew up playing soccer. My whole goal very young was to be a college athlete and be a soccer player. That was my whole goal. And I think as a goalkeeper, you definitely had to project in terms of what you want from the team. And you also have to kind of like hold things down to make sure that they feel confident in you, because that's a very important position, because you could mess up and literally lose the game for you, and you be the sole person to take the whole blame for it. You either rise to the occasion or you just crumble. It's one of those things that you just have to just go for it and see what happens and hope for the best. That's all we can do at times too. I think for other attributes, I guess, of my personality that you were talking about, how kindness brings into me, or just my personality overall, I think that's just drawn down from family as well. It's just my parents just instilling this humbleness about me. I think that's one thing you probably hear a lot about immigrant families a lot, is one, it's kind of like don't put yourself out there as much, but at the same time it's like make sure you always stay humble and true to yourself. Don't be cocky, don't do too much. It's almost a double-edged sword, because now that I've grown up, I've kind of known to figure out within my own professional life that becoming too humble is almost a little bit detrimental to your progression in your professional career. I've noticed that because I've always been, oh yeah, this was a team effort. They'll tell me good job on writing this report or fulfilling some type of project. And I'm like, oh yeah, it was a team effort. I couldn't have done it with this, which I kind of like throw back that compliment and not really take it and not really kind of bring that up to remind certain people about like the contribution I've been able to provide. I've come to learn that actually kind of bites you in the butt, because sometimes when it either comes down to either maybe a promotion, a raise, or I don't know, even more work in general, that does hurt you in some type of way as well too, and then probably hurt you in trying to meet new people and ultimately have other professional opportunities in the future. So I feel like a lot of the things I guess stemming from confidence, yeah, and my personality have woven into who I am, but it's part of like things about learning about yourself, that although these attributes of yourself are really great to have for an individual, you end up finding out how hurtful it could also be in other aspects of your life. So you're constantly having to learn who you are.
And that's what I really admire about you, Edgar. You're kind, humble, confident, but also competitive. No, I'm being real. And in that, right, I agree with a lot of what you said because we tend to be our biggest critic and others believe in us more than we believe in ourselves at times. And like you said, especially in the professional life, it's really hard to be confident when you grow up in such a humble family where they will humble you quickly if you are pompous, confident, or act like Ryan Garcia. But in all seriousness, if you're overconfident, it's looked at as cocky. But nowadays in this generation, whether it's your personal life or even professional life especially, you have to have that confidence in yourself and it has to radiate to others so they feel that. And others will be like, no, give yourself more credit or else I'll give it to someone else that wants to take it. So I wanted to go into another thing that I admire you for, loyalty, whether it's your career, relationships, or even time with family and when you're present with other people. How do you balance spending time on your family, your job, your relationships, and just doing what you want to do?
Another great question. And thanks again for all the compliments, man.
Hey, that's love, bro.
I didn't think this is a feel good podcast.
Nah, this is everything. I know there's lights and cameras, but this is just a conversation. We're here just talking, and this is just some true thoughts that I always wanted to let everyone know about on this podcast, and that's what it's really about. It's just for me to learn from my guest and just hang out and just have a conversation. And hopefully whoever's watching this or listening gets a lot of positive tidbits from it. But I don't really expect any views or anything crazy from it. I just want to learn from my guest and really showcase you guys because I really look up and admire what everyone does, whether it's my friends or family or whoever I have as a guest on this podcast.
Still want to acknowledge, the gratitude for you as well too for sharing all this admiration that you have. But to your question, I guess in terms of loyalty and just balancing relationships, I mean, ultimately, I don't think I'm the best at managing, I guess, everybody, the time you spent with most folks, whether that be my current girlfriend with Yesenia or my family, my brother, my parents, and or friends overall as well too. That's ultimately a challenge that I feel like a lot of us probably deal with as well too. Just thinking about, how often you should really see your parents, how often you should call them, how often should I call my brother, my family, how much attention should I be sharing with my girlfriend, considering we live together, see each other every day. All of that. I mean, it's you kind of, for me, I just go with the flow. I feel like sometimes I guess I'm not as proactive as I could be. It's more kind of a reactionary thing to see about, like, if my family thinks I'm not hanging out with them, then I react and go, as if my brother is like, oh, like, you're not talking to me. Oh, then, I'll try to like reach out. If my girlfriend's doing this, and I'll go. I guess it's more kind of a reactionary thing that I think I got to get better at in terms of when it comes to managing certain relationships with people. But that's where I'm in. Loyalty with my partner. I mean, I feel like if you find the right person, that loyalty is not hard to do, or have, I should say. We've been together. Woo. I met her in summer 2014. So this summer is going to be 10 years since I met her. And to be honest, she's the only one I've been with since I met her too. So, like I said, it's felt natural, casual, and comfortable with her that, just don't want to mess that up because that I love that, I love her. Job in general, I don't know. I think I found myself in a position with my professional career that I want to be in a place where I could continue growing in some way, whether that be, just like my writing, my speaking skills, project management skills. Yeah, I'm not going to be the first one to admit that I'm not the best at that, at all of those. I still need to work on, facilitation skills with big name partners, leaders in the conversation, because a lot of times, sometimes I feel like I'm just, I guess my dad would say, like, my small peon to the conversation, where I'm not that big dog where I could help move conversations forward. But I work on that. But ultimately in my job, I was able to grow in so many different aspects, which enticed me to continue staying there and I've been there for I literally graduated college, and through a relationship I grew and through my UCDC program, they connected me to a member of my organization that I work with now. And ever since then, I worked as an intern, went to a coordinator, senior coordinator, manager, and now I'm a senior manager today. And yeah, I've been able to continue growing, and I feel like they respected me. It's a nonprofit world, so we're always kind of thinking, everybody who's in the nonprofit space will kind of tell you that sometimes they keep their ear open and see what other opportunities are available to them, because sometimes this work could be a lot, and it's good work, but the work is very heavy, I guess you could say. The workload's heavy, and you want to be able to do everything you can to change the lives that you're trying to actually change. And for me, it's in Los Angeles specifically. Part of me just goes with the flow of things. If at my values, I feel being respected, coincide with one another, and I'm just gonna rock with you, I guess.
And I think a lot of what you just said is a testament to stability, but also longevity in what you do. If you're consistent and you're stable in your personal life and your professional life. And our mutual friend Matt and I talked a lot about you being with Yesenia for a very long time. And I've known my brother who's been with his girlfriend for a very long time. Now they're married. So my sister-in-law, they've been together, I would say, almost 15 years. You guys been together for 10 years. We all have a lot of good mentors, whether it's our personal lives, to look at in how relationships should work and hopefully how to find the right person. I'm not saying that it's easy because I can't really speak for that myself, but, Matt's going into that too.
It ain't easy. No.
Yeah. But, in all seriousness, that's why I wanted to have you on the pod, because you're a testament to true stability, commitment, and also consistency in whatever you do, but also have that flexibility to be passionate about what you do and what you're interested in. So just going into the passion part of things, I know you're passionate about sports. Do you want to go into that and some of the other passions that you have in your life?
Yeah, sure. I mean, everybody that knows me knows that I love soccer, football. I'm a huge Real Madrid fan. I watched them week in and week out. To actually, when I got to go travel abroad, I was able to feel like a childhood dream of mine, and being able to see them play at their home stadium. It was probably like one of the most beautiful experiences I had. Unfortunately, I did that all by myself. I didn't get to do that with family. Yesenia at that time, I think she went back home, so I didn't have her. But yeah, it was a cool experience for myself, and I loved it. And it's one of those things that sometimes having those solo journeys at times is also good, because you end up kind of realizing who you are in certain places. I'm LA guy, so I follow as much of LA sports as I can, whether that be Lakers, Dodgers, Kings, Galaxy. No, I don't follow like football that much, but ultimately, anytime it comes down to playoffs, I'm always looking, because I'm a fan of competition. I'm a competitive guy myself, and I love seeing when people give it their all for something that they truly care for. So that's why I guess I love sports altogether. I feel like moving out, you have to really get into I guess you eat and what you cook. So I'm always thinking about new ways to cook certain things, new ways to look at YouTube videos, see who the top content creator is, and seeing what they're cooking, recreating that, and how I could make my own spin of those different creations, whether that be, I don't know, curry, beef stew, chicken katsu, or I don't know. I try to just open myself to anything possible, and just trying to learn as much as possible to not close myself out to the delicious cuisines out there. I mean, I want to get more into health and wellness of myself too, but food be too good, at times. But I do know I have to walk out a little bit more. Starting to work out now as well too, a little bit more of a consistent basis than usual. Passion sometimes it just deals with what I'm interested at that moment, and right now those are the things that I think encompass my life right now.
Thank you for sharing that. I think a lot of our interests overlap, and that's why we get along so well. I'm really interested and passionate about sports, health and wellness, and also food. And that's basically what we do along these trips when I visit LA, or if you go to the Bay. Other than drinking, we used to drink a lot.
Still do.
I get inspired by what you guys actually do as far as going to local farmers markets and, getting freshly pressed orange juice.
Yeah.
I might have to get one. I was on Amazon earlier trying to get my own.
Hey.
So I might have to do that in Tracy.
Uh-huh.
I'm really just passionate about what my friends are passionate about because I love to just learn from them and see what they're doing. And hopefully that inspires me because our interests are fluid, our passions are fluid, but we have to go through that self-discovery of what we want to do and ultimately be consistent with. And that's why I wanted to have you on this pod. You're a true testament to that: consistency, stability, and confidence, loyalty. So I wanted to ask you one last question. Up until this point in your life, what are 3 words that you would say that sums up your life?
What, 3 words that sum up my life?
You could go one by one and be like, this is why, or you could say all 3 and be like, this is why.
Damn. It's a hard question. 3 words that sum up my life. I wish you gave me this question in advance to prepare.
If it helps you, I could go first too.
I mean, I could go. I don't want to cheat,
Confidence.
Yeah, I just got to throw myself out there. I guess I'll say 1, dedicated. I feel like being dedicated to, I don't know, I guess the people I love, the people that I care for, and just the things that I care for. I don't know. It's one of those things that my dad has always said: if you're gonna do something, you gotta do it like 100%. Don't half-ass anything. I don't know if we can cuss or curse. Yeah, don't half-ass anything. Something that's kind of like been instilled in my head for a very long time. It's not to say that I don't give myself 100% all the time as well, but there are some times that I feel like I could give a little bit more effort in certain things. But yeah, I feel dedicated to, like I said, the people I love and what I do, what I work in as well, which kind of, I guess, leads in, say, loyal, but I guess that probably leads into loyal as being the next word that describes me as well too. Yeah, the first one is dedicated to my, I guess, the people I love, dedicated to my passions, dedicated to the grind. No, just dedicated for anything that I care about. Loyal, I think it's one of those things that, if I love you, if I mess with you, I want to make sure that I try to show up for you as much as possible as well, whether that be you, like friends, like you coming out to LA as well. I want to make sure that you have a comfortable experience, and same thing with family. Whenever they feel like they need anything, they could come to me and I'll be there to respond to them. The last one that describe me, because I think it's always resonated with a lot of different people when they meet me, is calm or calming. I feel like a lot of the times, every time I meet people or people try to talk something about me, one of the things that they always describe is that I'm a very calming person. And I've heard 2 different flip sides of that. One being that, that's a very great attribute to have. I don't know, maybe it's something that's been instilled in me from very young age as well too, that when something happens to you, you don't panic. You want to make sure you take a deep breath. Excuse me. You want to make sure that you take a deep breath. Take a deep breath and collect your thoughts, and then take action certain times as well, whether that be in professional, personal. When something serious comes down too, you got to know how you're supposed to react, because if you panic in certain situations, you're just gonna end up looking bad overall, whether that be your relationship or when something really goes down. I mean, just yesterday we had a burning vehicle outside of our apartment, I should say. And I mean, I don't know if I was calm in that, but I was like, oh shoot, we gotta call 911. There's a burning vehicle outside. But certain things like that, you never know when something's gonna happen, and you need to be able to, I feel like, take action and when you need to, but make sure that you kind of have a clear and sensible, I guess, mind when that happens. The flip side, I feel like for other people, sometimes I've heard that my calming presence has made them nervous. Which is interesting to me. I feel like it speaks more to them than about me, but I've had certain people criticize me for being too calm or just being, I don't know, quiet. or something, and them kind of like taking that either certain ways, whether that be kind of like weakness or just not caring enough as well to certain things. But me, I'm just like, it just depends, I guess, on the situation that we have, whether that be in work. I want to make sure that I'm a very composed individual, that I'm never gonna be like panic when we actually have to get certain deadlines down. I want to make sure that we're in. I'm giving my 100%. Whether that be with friends as well too. I'm just gonna give it my all, or family. But yeah, I find that odd when people have told me that, that it puts them off, because I don't know, maybe themselves, they're not very calm or secure in themselves as well too. But I think it speaks more to them than about me.
I got a lot of feedback
Shadow
from
the song.
folks. I got a lot of feedback from folks saying, AJ, we want to hear what you think about the topic. I'm down to interject and really put in my thoughts about the conversation. But like I said earlier, I really want to learn from those that I have so much adoration for, because I look up to them in their relationships, in their work life, in the way they balance their time, because that is truly all we have. It took me 4 years since the pandemic to really get to a place where I want to fulfill my passions creatively, personally, professionally, and I want to do more projects like this, fulfill my actual fashion YouTube, fulfill my DJ endeavors, do well in my professional life. Sometimes I wish I only had a day job so I could focus on that and only have one singular passion, because that's how you truly become a master in something, in my opinion. I just want to use this platform to hang out, have constructive conversations with those I really care for and have love for. And I just want to reciprocate any love and conversations we have with one another to other people as well, so they could just stay on their journey and have something to either listen to or watch in the background that helps them stay accountable for themselves, when we all need someone to help us stay accountable for our own lives, and while we're learning about our own self-discovery and journeys.
Beautifully well said. I mean, the one thing I'll probably say to you, because you threw a lot of, like, I guess, admiration to me, I feel like I should throw stuff at you as well too. So I mean, one, it's like being able to put yourself out there and being able to take on this endeavor that you're really doing, I feel like is pretty admirable, because I feel like this is really putting yourself out there that I feel like I don't really see myself doing. But I find that very almost commendable, because I'm like, wow, that takes a huge lot of confidence, and that really takes a huge lot of belief in yourself, in terms of like, I'm gonna do this, I want to do this for whatever said reasons that you said earlier as well too. And you don't really care about the views, you don't really care about the monetary aspect of things too. It's just that realness to it, that I find that's really admirable as well too. Because a lot of people that start these types of different podcasts, or whether that be some YouTube channels, they're just in it for the views. They're in it just to get rich, or it's like a quick rich scheme as well too. And it's like there's no real, I should say, I guess, heart to it. And I feel like you give a lot of heart to a lot of the things that you do with your passions that I've seen you in, whether that be in the YouTube social media space, whether that be DJing, or just chilling with friends and homies as well too. I mean, you're a very generous friend, and I want to thank you for all that you've done for not only me, but my family, my brother, and my girlfriend Yesenia as well too. So thank you for that. I feel like when we have these types of conversations, this is one of those things that we could just go on and on about so many different things. And I feel like you said so many different things in your things that I would like to try to go into a little bit deeper on as well too. But we'll have many other times and spaces to get deeper on things, so even more behind the scenes of things. So I appreciate you inviting me to your space, inviting me to your podcast and set. And I hope the viewers come, the money comes in, dude, and we out here balling.
I appreciate you for letting me stay with you this weekend in Los Angeles. We did a lot of cool things. Personally, I got so much love for everyone. I've spent so much time alone, and that's kind of the premise of this podcast. I've spent so much uncomfortable time alone. I thought it was loneliness at first, but I've learned to turn it into solitude and really have that self-discovery and self-confidence in myself. And I love to bring it out for myself. It used to be for others when I was really young, But I'm glad that other people are kind of recognizing that. So it makes me be my biggest fan other than others, other than people believing in me more than I believed in myself. Now I believe in myself. I have that self-confidence, and it's because a lot of what you guys do, and that's why I feel I can be so generous, because like I said, you can't take your money with you professionally. And I always look at it as I never want anyone to feel disrespected or alone or have as negative thoughts as I've ever felt in my entire life, because I could say honestly that 29 plus, if not 30 years of my life, I've spent 90% of the time alone. And that's why I have so much adoration for my loved ones, for my family, for my friends, for my passions. And I can't just pick one. And I want everyone to be along for the ride. And I just want to have these constructive conversations with others that I truly have adoration for.
But yeah, I guess to sum up everything, I guess my three words are dedicated, loyal, and calm.
Dedicated, loyal, and calm. I definitely agree with you. That's why we wanted to have you on the pod. And like you said, a lot of people don't do the uncomfortable work internally. And if they're saying that you're too calm and you're the eye of the storm when there's so much hectic things going on, that's a testament to you being authentic to yourself and true to self. And I strive to be more like that, learning every single day with my journey in health and wellness. And this is why we have this podcast too, just to be more healthy, healed, and present with one another. Because all I want to do is reciprocate any loyalty, calmness, dedication, love, and effort and comfortability that you share with me, with one another. So for me, all of it is just time, because that's all we have, presence, and healing, whether it's your personal or professional life. My thing is I never want to say bye to someone on the wrong foot, because what if you never say hi to them again? How many of our birthdays are guaranteed and someone's like, oh, I don't want to celebrate my birthday? And that's why even if you don't celebrate it, just acknowledge it to yourself at least. And that's what I want to do with the times that we spend with one another on trips, on these podcasts, all the stories that we share. I care so much about my friends, my family, and everything else that sometimes they care more about me than I actually care about myself, like we said in the first portion of this podcast. And I got so much adoration and love for others that I lost the adoration and love for myself. And that's the self journey that we all need to take. But I'm learning in real time from the folks that we have on the podcast. And I hope that other people do as well. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. This is Adoration with AJ. We'll see you guys later. Peace.